Welcome back, Rebel fans. This is the Rebellion Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Staker. All right, it's been a while since I dropped an episode, a couple months actually. Life kind of just got in the way, and my living situation, I just haven't had a lot of time. But here we are. We're getting close to basketball season. Football, a lot has happened. We're going to talk about that. And just excited to be doing another episode. I'm never going to fully quit doing this. There might be times where I take a long break, but I'm always going to keep doing this for years to come. At least that's the plan. So I'm definitely excited to do today's episode. I'm going to talk about football. Not go too in depth with everything, but kind of just give my opinions on everything that's happened so far this season and a little bit on what I see is going to happen moving forward. Kind of predictions and everything the rest of the season. And then I'm going to talk about UNLV basketball. We had an exhibition game this past Sunday against the University of Washington on their home court in front of 6,000 Washington Husky fans. So I'm going to give my thoughts on how that went. And then, so let's go ahead and get this thing going. Right? So, okay, UNLV football, we are 6-1. The last time I talked about UNLV football, it was my preseason episode where I, make all my predictions and everything. Off the top of my head, I don't remember how many games I predicted we would win. I think it was 9. It might have been 10, which I could end up being right about that. But I think the games that I predicted we were going to win and lose, that might be way off, because I didn't think we would be 6-1 going into the New Mexico game. But it's been fun, right? Now, I have to be honest and say our record is a bit misleading. We are not as good as a 6-1 team would be. We are, frankly, nowhere near a ranked team. And we might even be middle of the pack in the Mountain West, if we're being completely honest, because, I'm just basing that off of scores, really. We've had a really weak schedule. The only team we beat that is really looking pretty good right now is Miami of Ohio. And UCLA, I don't really count because they're a completely different team after they fired their coach. I was pretty hyped up after that game. You know what? I'm kind of just all over the place right now. Let me just start going back to Idaho State. Oh, I remember now. I did do an episode recapping the Idaho State game. That was bad. That was bad. But we're not gonna beat a dead horse. Obviously, that was a disappointing performance. Rebel fans haven't been able to experience a relaxing blowout, unfortunately. Despite the fact that we've been winning every single game, we haven't been able to sit back and watch a 30, 40-point blowout like we did last year. Last year, half the games we had during the season were blowout wins on our behalf. And man, that was fun. So much fun last year. But let's start Sam Houston. We won that game handily, but we got complacent. We did typical Rebel football, and we got lazy in the second half, and we allowed Sam Houston to kind of come back a little bit, like enough to make us nervous. We ended up winning that game 38-21. Sam Houston is arguably the worst team in all of college football, so nothing to be, I guess, proud of in terms of how that game went. I mean, a win is a win. You always should be happy about getting a win, but the worst team in the worst FBS team in college football, we should win by 30 to 40 points, whereas we only beat them by 17. So Sam Houston is just not as good of a team as I thought they would be this year. And then UCLA. I was at this game. I was really pumped for this game. I predicted we would lose, especially because, first of all, they're UCLA. They're going to have a lot of talent. They're a Big Ten school. But we struggled against Idaho State, and we struggled against Sam Houston. So, yeah, I wasn't too confident going into that game. But I knew we had a lot of talent. I knew we had a great coach. I knew we were at home, so there's a chance, right? And then we jump out to a 23 to nothing lead. That was, I would say, next to the Fresno State game last year, the most fun I ever had watching UNLV football. I mean, putting a beat down on UCLA was such a good feeling. Now, the second half was different. We got outplayed pretty badly. Fortunately, though, we built a big enough lead to hold on and win that game. Now, after the UCLA game, I was really high on the Rebels. I was really high on us. I thought like, okay, we're good. You know, those first two games we, just weren't playing to our potential, and now we are. And I felt really good about where we were going from there. However, UCLA loses their next game at home to New Mexico by more points than we beat them to. And that sucked. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, no, we're supposed to root for the Mountain West. No, I want to feel like we have a good football team. I want to feel like we have a team that can win every game on our schedule and go to the college football playoff. So I knew UCLA had to look good against New Mexico and put a beat down on them for me to feel good about where we're going the rest of the season. And no, UCLA got whooped by the Lobos. So that changed everything. I'm like, okay, we're not good. UCLA is just that bad. And then UCLA fires their coach after that game and then goes on to beat Penn State, I think it was Maryland. They've won 3 in a row. It's like, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger, more impressive turnaround after a firing in my life than what UCLA is doing right now. How do you feel if you're the coach and you got fired and now the team is night and day different? I would like lose all confidence in my coaching abilities. Okay, next we have the Miami of Ohio game. We were losing that game pretty much the entire game. We got down by 2 touchdowns. We came back, tied it, and it was like, okay, cool, we're going to take over from here. And then we got down by 2 touchdowns yet again. We ended up having a very exciting comeback and winning that game 41-38. That was, next to the Air Force game, our most exciting win. Miami, Ohio, they do have a really good they do have a good program overall, and they're always good at home. They always have a very good home record. It's hard to win there. However, they did get whooped to Rutgers and Wisconsin prior to that game, so I knew they weren't, there were no juggernaut team we were beating. But it was still a good win. Still happy we got that win in a very tough environment. And then Wyoming, based on the score, we kind of won handily. We built a pretty big lead, like a 3 touchdown lead. And then we ended up winning 31-17. Though the score is a bit misleading because Wyoming statistically, they outplayed us. Like, they had a lot more total yards than us. A lot more first downs. They moved the ball more efficiently than us. We just had 2 blocked punts that led to touchdowns that kind of helped us build that lead. So that was another game where I was like, I don't know if we're good or not. It's like Wyoming is a middle of the pack Mountain West Conference team. It's very hard to win in Laramie. But we ended up beating them, somewhat handily, albeit the final score being slightly misleading. But I still remember after that game thinking like, man, I still don't know if we're good. Like, the defense is still, just not looking adequate, right? The defense has been struggling all season long. The only time our defense looked good was the first half of the UCLA game. And, well, seeing how bad UCLA was now, like at that time, it's nothing to be too proud of. Okay, then there was the Air Force game. I was at this game. This one was a pretty big eye-opener. This one was like reality really set in of how good we are or how good we weren't. I guess you could, however you want to phrase it. We beat Air Force in a shootout. When I mean a shootout, I mean neither team could stop each other from scoring. Both teams were moving the ball effortlessly on offense. You know, we ended up pulling that game out by scoring a touchdown with 30 seconds left, and Air Force misses a field goal that would have tied it and sent it to overtime. And who knows how overtime would have went? Like this game seriously might have been like in the 80s if it went to overtime, because of how pathetic the defense was for both teams. But this game was really telling as far as like, okay, our defense just flat out sucks. This is a 1-4 team, albeit that I will say they're a better team than their record just based off their scores. I mean, they played Boise pretty tight. Navy's one of the best non-power conference teams in the country. They played them really close. So Air Force is better than their record, but the fact that we beat them by only 3 points on our home field when they were a 1-4 team was concerning to say the least. But we pulled it out. It was still fun. It was exciting. I was cheering, hugging people after the game. It was a blast, right? But nonetheless, we still gave up 48 points to Air Force. And then that brings us to the Boise State game. This was definitely one of the worst losses in terms of just feeling depressed afterwards that we've had in a long time. Boise dominated us pretty much from the start of the game. We scored 31 points against them. So if you would have told me before the game that we scored 31 points, I would have said, all right, well, we probably didn't get blown out then. But no, we gave up 56 points. We played them pretty tight in the first half, and then it was just blown wide open in the second half. So that was the last game, and that was a pretty big indicator that this team is not amongst one of the best teams in the conference. Though if we go on and beat New Mexico handily, then I'll be like, all right, we got whooped at Boise. It's hard to win at Boise. I still think we're one of the better teams in the conference. But that New Mexico game will tell us a lot. So our offense we have a good offense. There's no question that we have a good offense. We have an offense that can put up a lot of points. But our defense being so pathetic it's just going to be hard to beat most of the teams in the conference. I mean, almost any team in the conference can beat us because of how pathetic our defense is. I mean, I'm not going to be that excited going into next season if we don't either get a new defensive coordinator or significantly ramp up the talent on defense, bring in some really good transfers. We did make a huge jump defensively from Odom's first year to his second year, so really hoping we could replicate that. If we can return this offense, all these guys, Calandria, Thomas is graduating, but if we can return Calandria and most of the guys on this offense, add a couple more talented players, and then make our defense much better, then the next year could be really fun. So moving forward, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick prediction. New Mexico, I'm going to predict we win that game. It's going to be a close game. We never get to enjoy a nice blowout. It just doesn't happen. New Mexico has been surprisingly good this year. They're better than their record, and we could easily lose this game. I would say this is about the same as Air Force in terms of how tough it's going to be. Hopefully, the Boise State game brought us back down to earth, and we come out more focused, and we try something different. I don't know. But I am going to predict that we beat New Mexico in a close game. And then we have at Colorado State, home versus Utah State, home versus Hawaii. Okay, this is tough. I could see us losing all three of these games. I'm going to say Utah State and Hawaii is both really good. I don't think we're going to win both those games. Hawaii is looking like they're right up there with Boise as arguably the best team in the conference. I'm going to predict we lose at Colorado State, beat Utah State at home, which would be a really good win because Utah State's good. And then we're going to lose at home to Hawaii, which is going to suck because Hawaii is going to have so many fans there. But I think we're going to lose a high scoring game to Hawaii. We're going to lose like 46-42. I don't know, something like that. Those are random numbers, but and then we're going to beat UNR on the road. I would like to say we're going to beat them by 30-40, but I just don't trust our defense. We might beat them by 7, honestly. So yeah, that's my prediction the rest of the way. So New Mexico will be the 7th win. Utah State will be the 8th. Reno will be the 9th. And then we're not going to be in the Mountain West Championship game. We'll have lost too many games. And then we will lose our bowl game because they're going to put us against some power conference team who's just going to light up our defense. So we'll finish the season with the same record we did Odom's first year, which I won't complain about. I will be happy with that as long as the defense just gets much better going next year, like much better. If you took last year's defense with this year's offense, that team's going undefeated and we're going to the college football playoff. No doubt in my mind. All right, let's talk about Rebel basketball. So we had a exhibition game against the University of Washington, the Huskies. And it is on YouTube. I watched it, so I'm going to give my thoughts on what I saw from that game. So, first of all, if you just go based off of the score, what the score was at halftime, what the score was, pretty much throughout the game, then you're going to be pretty discouraged about this team in the season. However, if there's ever a time to not worry about the score, this is one of those times, okay? And I'm going to say why. Because we literally only had half our team healthy, and most of the players we were missing are bigs. And Washington is absolutely massive, okay? They are a massive team in terms of like physical size. They start a 6'11" German guy who's like a superstar. He's like a freshman, but he looks like he's 28. 6'11", 240, big broad shoulders, long arms. He's like a star player in Germany, and he has a good chance of being an NBA player someday. He killed us. He had 22 points against us. And then they have this 7-foot African dude who is a monster. He's like built like prime Dwight Howard, and he has a lot of experience. He played at Oregon. Now he's at Washington, so he's like a 6th-year senior, something like that. Those two guys on the court at the same time, we just could not handle them. Their size just completely overpowered us. We were very physically outmatched. That being said, I'm not too concerned with the fact that we lost by double digits because obviously we were missing a lot of good players, a lot of key players. We have one true center on the team, Emmanuel Stephen, and he is out for the next couple months, which was the worst news. And I said this. I said this when I did my season prediction preview episode where I go over every player on the roster. I said, I'm surprised Pasner hasn't picked up another true center in case Emmanuel Stephen either ends up not being very good or he gets injured. Well, he's injured now, and here we are. We don't have a single center on the roster. Laji Dembele will probably play center for us. At this point, he's probably the favorite to start at center. It's either that or we're going to go small ball with Kamani Hamilton at center, kind of what we started against Washington, and I really hope that's not the case. Kamani Hamilton is like 6'7", 215. Like, that guy should not be our starting center. Nothing against him as a player. He's awesome. Like, I'll get into him in a minute, but I really hope he's not starting at center to start this season. So I do think that will be Laji Dembele is the favorite. And we could have really used Dembele in this exhibition game. Dembele's the only guy in this team who's looks like he could be a bouncer at a bar, whereas Washington's half their roster looked like that. Like, just big dudes. Like I don't know what it is, what they're doing in the Big Ten in terms of the weight room. Like they have weight room coaches there that actually understand how to grow muscle. In the Mountain West, they don't, because I feel like every time we play a team from the Big Ten, they're so much more muscular than we are. So watching both teams move the ball well. Both teams ran, really good cuts and a lot of good kickouts. Played smart basketball. There wasn't a lot of selfish one-on-one ball. I thought UNLV, considering it's our first time playing together, I actually was impressed with how well we ran offense and we played smart basketball. Plain and simple, we just didn't make shots. That's the reality of it. And because we were so small, Washington was able to kind of keep us from like getting to the rim easy, keep us from getting too many easy looks, just by condensing down into the paint with their size. And it kind of forced us to just, shoot jumpers all game. But we still did a really good job of finding players open, driving and kicking, good ball movement, making the extra pass. We shot absolutely horrendous. So to me, that's why I'm not too concerned with the results from that exhibition game. Is I know we're going to be a better shooting team than that because we have proven players. It's not like we have a bunch of guys that came from JUCO and high school and we don't know how well they're going to shoot under the bright lights on a Division I court in a Division I basketball game. We have guys that have proven that they can shoot in a Division I basketball game. Not just one or two, but several. And every single one of them shot poorly against Washington. That's not going to be the norm, right? There were so many times against Washington where we had a nice athletic drive to the rim, and then we kicked out to a guy to a wide open three-pointer, and he just missed, right? Walter Brown is a good three-point shooter. Okay, he shot, I think, like 2 for 6, and 2 of those were air balls. He shot an air ball to start the game. He's going to shoot better than that. I know he will. So overall, though, I was actually pretty happy with how we looked. I mean, you wouldn't think that based on the fact that we got down 15, 16 points and never were really able to come back. But we looked athletic. We pushed the ball. There wasn't a lot of, stagnant standing around. I can't tell you how many times I watched a Kevin Kruger coached team, and it was just kind of like passing the ball around the perimeter, not making anything happen. Like we had guys that were, not afraid to take their man off the dribble and get to the rim and use their athleticism and length to make plays. At the end of the day, we just didn't execute and get the shots to go in. But I actually thought we looked pretty good as far as playing an entertaining style of basketball. So we'll see how we look in our next exhibition game going against a crappy opponent. You can't take too much from that. I think we gained so much more playing against Washington than we do playing with a crappy opponent. But the games against the really low-level opponents, those are good too, because it's good to get a feel for how things should go when things are going well, like building your confidence up, getting a big lead and working on stuff that you don't necessarily work on when you're losing, certain types of lineups, certain plays, what have you. I will say though, like if I'm being completely honest, my predictions for how good this team is going to be this season have shifted a little bit, and that's only because of how injury depleted this team is. We're not going to. I think we're going to lose too many games in the non-conference to be an at-large bid, and that's because of just how many players we're missing, combined with the fact that these guys are playing with each other for the first time. I do think by conference play, though, we will have most our players back. We will, for the most part, we'll be healthy, and we will have figured out how to play together, and I think we're going to kick ass in conference play. I really do. I think we're going to finish in the top 3, and it's going to be fun. I don't think we're going to have a good enough overall resume to get an at-large bid just because of, well, like I said, missing too many players, not having a true center. We don't get Steven back till January, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to kill us because he's, like I said, the only true center on this team. So, like we didn't score a ton of points, but we still, I thought we defended Washington fairly well. They just used their size to their advantage and killed us down low, which is what they should do. I think I think this team is going to look pretty damn good come conference play. We're going to be a fun team. We're going to be a team that's you really enjoy watching and it's fun to root for. You love teams that not only play fast, entertaining ball, but they play hard. And I think that's what we can expect from this team, coached by Josh Pazner. Let's see. I don't really have any other thoughts in this game. I will say Nas Cunningham, you can see the talent. The guy is just oozing with talent. Going against Washington, he was more talented than any guy Washington had on their team. Like, Washington didn't have anybody with that height and length who could handle the ball and is that explosive or laterally quick as Nas Cunningham. So he's going to be a huge question mark, like how good he's going to be this year. If he can get that 3 ball to go in, he's going to be really, really good. Okay. Walter Brown, I think as long as he can shoot above 38% from 3, he's going to be really solid for us as well. Nobody looked bad. I wasn't disappointed with anyone. Kamani Hamilton, despite only having like 5 or 6 points in that exhibition game, I was so impressed with him. He's just so I can't think of the word, but he knows how to manipulate his body midair to get a shot off and have it not get blocked. And he just knows how to use his length and his athleticism. I think he's going to be a problem for Mountain West opponents. I really do. So I didn't think I'd be feeling excited about a team that just lost by double digits to Washington, but I am. Okay. I'm not saying Rebel fans be prepared for a 28-win season and on that large bit. I'm not saying that because I already admitted that I don't think that's going to happen due to injuries, but I think this is going to be a fun team. I think it's going to be fun. And at the end of the season, even if we don't make the NCAA tournament, I do feel like we are all collectively going to feel optimistic going into year 2, going into the future of the program. Okay, Rebel fans, thanks for listening. This is the Rebellion Podcast. Till next time.